Hey guys, I am at my friend's house at Greenwood Lake, so the background is going to look pretty different from my usual videos, but I am vlogging my time here, so keep an eye out for that. But I am also sitting in front of huge windows that actually look out onto a lake. It's a little bit cloudy today, but I think the lighting is actually perfect. And we've got new makeup from Dior. I am so excited. I placed this order and I thought, oh gosh, I am gonna be at the lake when it arrives. So I actually had it sent here directly. And I have been waiting for this release. It felt like for months. I think it appeared on their site and you could like join the wait list for a really long time. So I am talking about their Forever Blush Soft Filter. These are their whipped liquid blushes. It's a blurring matte buildable color. Here is the box packaging, and I went ahead and ordered, how many did I order? I think I ordered 5. I got, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. We'll take a look at those, and then I did get 2 of the new powders. So I got their Nude Radiant Filter Powder and then the Nude Matte Filter Powder. I'm just very curious about their powders because if you've seen any of my Dior videos in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of their powders. I love their makeup in general, but their powders for me have always been very drying looking, like very mattifying, no matter how like little I use. And I do have very dry skin, so that could be part of it. So I am excited to try those. And then I did also get 2 of the new Rouge Dior OnStage. So these are the Coated Shine Lipsticks, Ultra Wear Intense Comfort. I'm excited by the like combo of claims here that it's a shine lipstick and it's ultra wear. Usually like long wear ultra wear lipsticks are matte, so I'm excited because I do like shine lipsticks to matte lipsticks. So we've got lots of stuff to try on today. I do have on the Sarah Creole concealer because that's what I packed. I do also have the Dior Star Filter in 2 and on, but that's all I have on my skin right now because I wanted to go in. Well, actually, do I want to go in with the blushes or do I want to try the powders? I think I'm going to go in with the blushes first and then we'll powder on top. I'm going to use the Radiant and the Matte powders, like one on each side of my face. Okay, let me go ahead and unbox all of these and then we'll do some swatches and you can see the shades that I got. Okay, here are the 5 shades that I got. So it's 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. 7's over here, 1 is over here. Okay, so here is 1, 2, 4, 5, and 7. So 1 is Petal, 2 is Peony, 4 is Daisy, 5 is Lily, and 7 is Orchid. Okay, the first thing I noticed when I was swatching these is that they have a very interesting scent. It's actually, I think, kind of similar to their Backstage, the new Backstage pressed powder blushes. Not the stick ones, because those smell kind of minty. The actual powder version ones, but that have, I don't know, it's just a very interesting scent. These have a very similar one, so keep that in mind. It almost smells like, I don't know, like skincare. It's actually kind of odd. I feel like it's an odd choice for makeup. So I think what I'm gonna do is I will start swatching these on my face, just like one at a time on each cheek, and then we'll end with number 7 on both cheeks. But I wanna get all of them on my face so you guys can see them, you know, in action. All right, so let's start with number 1. I've got my handy dandy Ilios travel mirror here. I was just about to apply this like a concealer. Wow. Let me put 3 dots right there on my cheek to start. Let's see if that's enough. I'm gonna use my finger because I didn't bring a ton of brushes with me, and the brush that I would use, it's a little bit dirty, and I feel like we need to get a good sense of the color and the finish. So I'm just gonna use my fingers and tap in. So that is 3 dots. I feel like that's enough. Let's put on a little bit more just so you guys can get like a good sense of the color. I'm just gonna put maybe 2 more right there. These are blending nicely and quickly. They definitely have a matte appearance, but I like it. It has like a whisper soft kind of effect. Very pretty. So this is number one. This is Petal. Very nice, very, natural for my skin tone. So just for your reference, when it comes to Dior foundations, I usually use shade like 1.5. I can use 2 also, but 1.5 is definitely the best one for me. So just as reference, and this is what Petal looks like. But let's move on to number 2, which is Peony. And this one is a little bit deeper and a little bit more cool tone than Petal. So I'm just going to start with those 3 dots again. This shade is definitely cooler in tone. Because the shade is deeper, I think those 3 dots were enough. Okay, so Petal and Peony. Yeah, Peony has a little bit more blue in there versus the Petal. This is what they look like in the bottles again. So this is Petal, this is Peony. Okay, so I'm going to take these off and we'll move on to the next 2. So I think before I apply the next 2 blushes, what I'm going to do is actually use the powder. So we just use the blushes just straight onto like my foundation. No powder was put down, but I do want to see how these work with powder. And since I did get 2 new powders, I thought let's put these down before the next 2 blushes and then we can see. So I did get Luminescent, the radiant one, and then I did get shade Fair in the matte one. Now there's 6 different shades for the matte powder, and then there's only this one shade for the radiant powder. And that was Nash, little pup. Hi, baby. And then I'm not sure if I mentioned when I started this, but I did get 5 of those blushes. That's out of 10 total shades that they have available. All right, let's go in with the matte powder. So this is what the packaging looks like for both of them. I was hoping for the radiant one they were gonna have like a shiny finish fabric here, but we just have the same, which is totally fine. Here is the shade Fair, which is the lightest shade. And I'll do a swatch, but it's kind of silly to swatch powder. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. And then let's do a quick swatch of the Luminescent. So it looks white in the pan, and I can see very clearly, can you guys see that? That it has like a satin finish. Wow. It's very, very translucent, which is nice. And there's that powder. I don't think you can see these. Okay, so let's just get them on my face and see if the finish is obviously different. So I'm gonna go in with the nude one first, and I've got my BK Beauty 107 brush. This is just the travel version. Pick up a good amount. There isn't a lot of kick up, which is nice. It's not a super soft pressed powder. If I was home, I'd probably use like a fluffier brush, but this one is okay. This one's doing the job. And again, I am applying this over the Star Filter, which has quite a bit of glow. Well, that's really nice. It's a very, very soft matte. Very soft matte. That's nice. I would say this is an improvement over the past powders that I've used from Dior, because immediately they would just make my skin look really just devoid of any moisture, just super, super dry. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so powdered, not powdered. You can see all that shine still. All right, let me move on to the Radiant filter in Luminescent. I'm just gonna wipe off this brush. And this has a little bit more kick up, which is interesting. But it felt a little bit harder in the pan. Oh, you know what's actually very interesting? So this is a pressed powder. And then as I'm looking at this Luminescent powder, I think this one is a baked powder. Yeah, this one's a baked powder. Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see how this one looks. How interesting. It definitely brought down the shine from the Star Filter, but it's imparted this very soft satin finish. Wow, that's really pretty. Again, I have dry skin. I really like things with like a little bit of glow. I just feel like it gives my skin, my complexion, like a little bit of life, the life that it needs. So there's the radiant finish, there's the matte finish. I really like them both. I'm impressed with how much softer the matte powder is versus their older versions. I like this. Okay, okay. I did not have high hopes for these powders. I was like, I'm gonna try them. I wanna see. I'm excited. Okay. All right, Dior, thank you. All right, let's move back over to these blushes. So next we're gonna try number 4 and number 5. So number 4 is Daisy, and this one is the most peach out of the 5 that I got. So I'm gonna do the same thing, just 3 dots. Did I show you guys the doe foot applicator? I think I skipped over that, sorry. But it's one of those with like a flat top, but pretty standard, pretty basic. Ooh, this peach is pretty. This one glows a little bit. It's much brighter than any of the other shades. I'm going to apply a little bit more. I think applying this over the powder eats a little bit of the product up, which I think is completely normal, but it does also help with longevity. So I'm going to add just a little bit more and tap that in. Okay, so there's number 4, Daisy. I really like this shade. The shade is very bright. This is great, great, great for this time of the year. It's summertime, it's like late summer. It's really nice and glowy. All right, next we've got number 5, which is Lily. Let me wipe off my tapping finger and tap this in. Do you guys remember when I went to Maine like earlier this year for a celebration of life? I went to Portland, Maine, and it was for Mark's dad. His celebration of life. That was Marky. I think I need it a little bit more because I was applying it over that powder. So I'm gonna put just a little bit more. Now that I'm spending a little bit more time with this fragrance, it doesn't smell like the blush stick. It doesn't really smell like those backstage pressed blushes like I mentioned when I first opened these up, unless they're different. But this one actually smells more like their foundation, their Star Filter, like those products, like skincare. Okay, I feel like this is the pink version of this one. So this one is Daisy, this peach one, and then this one is Lily, right? Yeah, Lily. And I feel like I just can't get enough Lily on top of this radiant powder. Let me add just a little bit more. I wonder if this radiant powder is kind of eating up more product than the matte powder. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that took a bit more product, I feel like, to get to the same level of pigmentation as the other side. That's interesting. Yeah, I do feel like the radiant powder eats up a little bit more product. All right, so here is number 4 and number 5. I'm gonna take these off and then we'll move on to number 7. All right, last but not least, we've got number 7. This is Orchid. And this is like a terracotta shade. It's really pretty. It's the deepest one that I got. It's most definitely not the deepest one that they offer. I didn't get those because I knew I wouldn't wear them as much as these. But anyway, let me go ahead and apply 3 dots. And since I removed that other blush, I don't have powder down again. So this is going straight on top of the Star Filter and the Sarah Creole Face Flex. There's number 7. I forgot we're doing it on both cheeks now. Let me do this side. I'm glad I ended on this shade. There is a little bit of warmth, for sure. It's a little bit more burnt in tone than rosy, you know, so it's a little bit on the warmer side. Nice, okay. All right, so that is number 7, Orchid. It's an interesting name for this shade. I don't think I would have named this Orchid, but that's okay. Who am I? Who am I? Okay, I'm going to apply some of the powder over this so we can take a look at how that looks. So I'm going to start with the matte version again. Pick up a little bit here and just pounce it on top. Nice, very, very translucent. And now I'm going to go into the Radiant. Okay, as suspected, it gave that matte blush just a little bit of glow. Well, that's a fun combination. If you want on the off chance to make your matte blush a little bit more glowy, You can use like a little bit of a glowy powder on top. All right, so those are the 5 Forever Blush Soft Filter shades that I got, the 2 powders. Let's move on to these Shine Ultra Wear lipsticks. What are these called? Rouge Dior OnStage. So the 2 shades that I got, 222 and 565. Do they have names? So 565 is Fearless Brown. The finish is Shine. And then 222 is Confident Nude. So here's what the packaging looks like. It's got the little quilting on top. And it's a slender stick, flat top. And it has a little bit of a teardrop shape. It looks like the reverse of the Armani. Oh my gosh, what were those? I love those lipsticks. I can't remember the name. I love them so much I can't remember the name. Anyway, it's like the reverse of that, where the Armani has the point on the top. Oh, interesting. I thought these were square. They're not. They're slightly rectangular. So the caps do have like a right way of going on. Okay, so here is 222. Here is 565. I'm actually surprised at how much red is in this 565, this Fearless Brown. The Confident Nude is what I expected. This Fearless Brown, yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit warmer, but I like that it has like a touch of coolness to it. They have the Dior lipstick scent. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I was really hoping these were going to be fragrance-free, but here we are. Okay, so 222. They're very soft too. So let me just show you what happened to the bullet when I swatched. And I don't think I was too heavy-handed. But you see that top edge? That's how soft they are. Okay, super comfortable. They feel very moisturizing, almost like they have like a teensy bit of oil. Color's very pretty. So this is Confident Nude. Nice, okay. All right, let me take this off and we'll try on that Fearless Brown. By the way, these just roll up and roll down. They're not like the clicky ones that commit you when you roll it up and you can't roll it down. So these roll up and roll down. Okay, there is Fearless Brown. Interesting. I feel like on my lips, now that I've applied it, it doesn't look quite as reddish, almost purple when I swatched it. This is more like what I thought it was going to look like. It's kind of like a nice, kind of deeper, burnt kind of red. I like this color, especially for the upcoming fall. Very nice. Okay, all right. All right, let's talk about all these. I really, really like these powders. I think the powders look great. I'm just so happy. I did not have high hopes for the powders, like I've already discussed. So I'm really, really happy with how translucent they are, what a light touch they have, even though I feel like they set down my makeup. Gorgeous, both of them. I really like the radiant finish if you want like a soft satin kind of finish. And I do like the matte finish. It didn't make my skin look too dry. It just sort of, you know, removed the shine very softly. Very, very nice. The blushes are nice. I don't like the fragrance. I think it's very weird. I'm going to say the same thing for the lipstick. Not that I think the fragrance in the lipstick is weird, but the fragrance in a blush is just, it's weird. They did that with the Backstage ones that they just came out with, and I just thought that was such a weird choice. I mean, I guess on the other hand, like, why not? You put fragrance in lipstick, but I don't know. I would not have done that. I think the colors are very pretty. They are very matte. They are exactly how they're described. Definitely a very light kind of whipped texture. I really like the matte finish. They're very cloud-like. It's very soft. It's very gauzy looking. It doesn't look too dry or pasty at all, but I think the whipped texture kind of keeps it light. So anyway, I really like those. 10 shades, which I think is great. I do really like the shades that I got. Just a nice variety of like cooler, more neutral tones and like the warmer tones. And these lipsticks, I think, look beautiful. The pigmentation is great. I think they're very comfortable from what I can tell so far. They apply really nicely. The shape of the bullet is great. Really, really lends itself to like easy application. I don't like the fragrance. And I've said that before about Dior lipsticks. Not all of them, but their regular, straight up regular lipsticks have the same kind of fragrance and like a little bit of taste, which I'm just not a fan of. But if I were to compare these to the new Chantecaille lip creme lipsticks, I prefer those so much more. The formula is also very comfortable. The colors are also very beautiful, but they fragrance free. I don't smell anything when I put them on. Those are super duper comfortable. I even traveled with the bamboo version. That's how much I like it. These are the guys I'm talking about. So this is bamboo. Yeah, they're fragrance free, really easy. Also very easy to apply, really rich, lush pigmentation, and you don't have to deal with the fragrance. Now, if you don't mind the fragrance, then you're not gonna mind these, but I'm just not a fan. I just wish they would take the fragrance out. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the new Dior stuff. How exciting. I'm so glad that Dior's coming out with all of this new stuff. I've been loving the Dior makeup that they've been coming out with so far. Like the eyeshadows, I've just been like gaga over, as you guys know. I love that new Miss Dior Quint, the bold black one. I love that. That gray shade in there is like chef's kiss. Anyway, enough rambling. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.